In this video, we are going to explain a movie about a dangerous monster snake. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Without wasting any time, let's dive right in. He's the Chinese version of Hannibal. Drinking snake wine is his pick-me-up, and eating raw venomous snake meat rivals Bear Grylls. This time, his target is the man-eating beast in this primeval forest, Xinghang Naga. But this fierce man obediently handed over his cash when the boatman hiked the price. His two companions were so shocked they wet their diapers. They had mentioned the price hike earlier, but the man decided to make an example of the boatman, who was then dismembered and thrown into the river. After they left, a giant python swallowed the boatman's head. The three then followed their map to a snake-shaped statue, proving the legend of Xinghang Naga was real. The snake skins on the trees confirmed it, making Jeff very excited. But just then, a companion accidentally stepped into a snake pit, discovering a nest of venomous snakes. The two were thrilled, as these snakes could make them rich. They started catching snakes like crazy, oblivious to the impending danger. Humming a tune, they loaded a stack of snakes onto the boat. It was only then they noticed the boatman's headless body standing in the water. Terrified, they turned to run, but it was too late. Meanwhile, another unaware companion was walking to the shore, only to encounter a giant python. The companion was already swallowed, and it was clear he was next. He wanted to run, but was startled by the companion spat out by the python. The python cleared its stomach to welcome him. This scene was witnessed by Jeff, who coldly watched his companion's plea for help. Strangely, the python seemed frightened and fled, as did all the birds and beasts. When Jeff turned around, he was horrified to see Xinghang Naga in front of him. The python seemed like a mere snack. Jeff quickly hid in a wooden box and slid into the river, narrowly escaping. But he wasn't done yet. He set his sights on a circus boat. The people on the boat noticed the wooden box floating downstream. To take a shortcut, they decided to blast a path with dynamite, not realizing the box was full of snakes. When they detonated it, snakes rained down, scattering everyone. Luckily, a woman used a high-pressure water gun to wash the snakes into the river. After things calmed down, Jeff climbed aboard the boat. But before anyone could understand the situation, a fat man suddenly collapsed and convulsed. A man cut his finger and inserted the bloody finger into the fat man's ear. The fat man convulsed, and a small snake fell out of his ear. Jeff wasn't surprised and tossed the snake into the river. His target wasn't a small snake but the giant worm in the forest. Since Jeff saved the fat man's life, they led him on the boat, which marked the beginning of their tragedy. The next morning, the captain was fishing when the water started bubbling. His fishing rod was pulled down, and when he bent to retrieve it, something dragged him underwater. It wasn't until everyone woke up that they realized the captain was missing. The forest birds and beasts were startled again, and everyone noticed the strange occurrences. The captain had been used as bait by Jeff, and the python took the bait. As Jeff tightened the steel cable, a python leapt from the water, struggled, and then went still. Jeff thought he succeeded, but the python suddenly surged, pulling Jeff and the rod down. He quickly climbed onto a nearby boat, grabbed a fishing spear, and focused on the water. With precise aim, he speared the python, but it came at a cost. Everyone watched as Jeff was dragged underwater, thinking he was doomed. But soon, he climbed back onto the boat, leaving everyone trembling. Jeff was both excited and scared, and everyone started hiding as the python rampaged on the boat, attacking everyone. Jeff seized the opportunity to lasso the python, but in the struggle, the python knocked over oil and incense burners, igniting the dynamite. Jeff quickly jumped into the river, and everyone else had to abandon ship. Fortunately, the python was burned alive, but without a boat, they couldn't leave the forest quickly. Jeff claimed he had a boat nearby, and they could walk to it. Although the girl didn't trust Jeff, he had the map, so they followed him. While resting, the girl tried to drink spring water, but Jeff stopped her, warning about parasites. He noticed something and walked toward a stone cave, deliberately reaching into a snake hole. With a twitch, he used his arm as bait to catch a venomous snake. "This is our lunch," he said. The stranded group started a fire to roast snake meat, but Jeff chose to eat it raw, unafraid of parasites. "The smell will attract predators, so eat quickly," he warned. Sure enough, a giant python approached them stealthily. The group was unaware until a boy was grabbed by the python. Despite their efforts, they couldn't save him. Jeff arrived just in time to resolve the crisis, and the group fled, not noticing one was already parasitized by a horsehair worm. That night, they camped in a cave, and the parasitized man, like a mantis, plunged into the parasite-infested river. His cousin tried to stop him but was bitten. Seeing the horsehair worm on his cousin's face, he realized the danger. The python was approaching, but no matter how he shouted, his cousin remained still, with predictable consequences. Meanwhile, Jeff said the python from earlier wasn't big. He was after the mutated Xinghong Naga, the only one with red spots in the world. Catching it would bring endless wealth. The leader's eyes lit up, and he proposed a partnership with Jeff to share the profits. Their plan was to use their cave companions as bait. The next morning, to reach the fishing boat quickly, they risked taking the water route. A giant python swam by, causing an accident. Everyone froze in fear, too scared to move. Moments later, the python disappeared. As they continued, the cousin at the back was caught by the python. The group was helpless, and soon the cousin was gone. With no choice, they seized the chance to leave and soon found the fishing boat. Just when they thought they could finally leave, Jeff and the leader revealed their true colors. According to their plan, they tied up their teammates as bait. They set traps to lure the python, with the leader ready to spring the trap. Unfortunately, the forest was full of pythons, and before Xinghong Nada appeared, the leader was swallowed by a smaller python, triggering the trap prematurely and alerting another python. The sun saved the two on the right ear, while Jeff battled two beauties. Unfortunately, they couldn't match Jeff. One girl resented Xife, and the other ambushed Jeff, knocking him out. He rushed back to save the others. Jeff wasn't knocked out. Karma hit the villain, and Jeff was caught by a giant python and dragged into the forest. The three returned to the boat, but as they were leaving, the chubby guy was hit by a tranquilizer dart. Jeff wasn't dead and killed the python. No wonder he dared to challenge Xinghong's family. He tied the three again, setting traps with steel cables. Soon, many pythons turned into ghosts, but they were small fry. The gigantic Xinghong family finally appeared. As it wrapped around the three to eat, Jeff triggered the trap, startling the python to struggle. Jeff was dragged and stuck between branches, watching the python approach. Jeff paid for his greed with his life. The three sneaked away, but the python chased them. In desperation, they decided to fight. The chubby guy jammed a stump into the python's head cage, and the girl stabbed its eyes. The python fled, and the three escaped. The python woke up, and the trio prepared to die. A dramatic scene unfolded as the python crashed into Jeff's steel cable, slicing its head. The three left on the boat, ending the story.